I felt confident in the airplane. You know, when you first start flying, there's fear of the unknown. And then after you get a few combat missions, it's not so bad. And then if you're really successful, and then it seems a little easier.
We have a Mustang tribute to Colonel Bud Anderson this afternoon. So you'll see as many Mustangs as you've probably seen in a very long time flying together in tribute to Colonel Bud Anderson. Colonel Anderson was a 16 1/4 ace in World War II.
Yeah, it's a P-51D. It's not an original airplane. It was put together, I think, in the 80s, like many of these Mustangs are. But it's a lot of fun to fly. It dawned on me I'd rather bring one back to life than I would just buy a Mustang, and I had the time because at that point I only had 350 hours in a T6. So this plane was in a landing accident in Florida, and I had about 2 years left to get to my 500 hours. So the restoration began in concert with me getting to 500 hours. The best part about owning it is the people that I've met, I don't think I would not have met under normal circumstances. Really kind of had the run the gamut of military ranks that have been passengers, to astronauts, to some guy that's making model airplanes still as an adult. I rarely fly it alone, actually.
My dad left me a few airplanes after he passed 2.5 years ago. The aircraft behind me today is a North American P-51H model. It's the last production model of the P-51 series of Mustangs that North American built. They only built 555 of them. There's about 7 airframes left in the world, and this is the only flying example today. The H model is here today because of my father, Michael Couchus. He started buying warbirds in the 50s. There's about 5 or 6 Mustangs out here that my dad owned at one time. And this one here, when he first saw the H model, he just had to have one. And he set out on a quest to get one, and it took about 4 years to find it. 22 years ago, I started flying it, and my son, Nicholas, started flying it about 2 years ago. So it's the 3rd generations of Couches flying this aircraft. I grew up with it. I helped my dad with it, and when I fly it, I think he's there looking at me. Sorry. But he loved this airplane, and I love it just as much.
It's unusual because it's the only one in the world that flies, and there are only 2 that are in civilian hands. There were 272 built, only 5 survived the scrapping in 1953. Now, one belongs to Pat Harker, who lives north of here up in Anoka, Minnesota. He's doing a beautiful job on an E model. And this is the only other civilian one. His is an E model, this is the XP First to Fly. And there's 3 others in military museums, which will never ever come out. We always knew we would finish it. It took us longer than we thought, and a few dollars more than we thought, but that's the way it always is.
That's what we're about, is preserving our history and telling it as it was, and these airplanes speak loudly.
liked about the Mustang was I felt like me and that Mustang could take on anything Germany had.